PSIR and Director General CSIR. आज के कार्यक्रम को फैसिलिटेट कर रहे हैं एंड चेयर डॉक्टर मिस्टर रोशन जग्गी जी, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष, and all my colleagues from All India Institute Ayurveda and Ministry of Ayush and dear scholars, new entrants, and all the staff. I request to please take your seats. It's a very important session, and all the media representatives. It is our pride privilege, and we are really honored for the presence of Dr. Shekhar Mandeji. He has a very busy schedule, and thank you very much for honoring our request, both our speaker and the chair. And सर, डॉक्टर शेखर मांडे ये पहले नेशनल सेल साइंस पुणे में थे. अभी DGCSIR CSIR has many laboratories in India for the basic research and applied research, starting from molecular mechanism and for quality assurance, quality, safety and efficacy. If we really want to take Ayurveda for to cater the needs of 21st century, and if really wants to make Ayurveda classical yet contemporary, it is the scientists which really provide us the know-how and the support, and we have to integrate our science with the basic science, and it is none other than the CSIR laboratories and Ministry of Ayush with the greatest visionary leadership of our secretary. They have signed a MOU last year, and in this COVID pandemic, it is a great support that CSIR is providing us for validating the claims of 4 candidates what Ministry of Ayush had identified in this COVID pandemic. So we are thankful to you from bottom of our heart for providing us the support. And today we have new entrants of the PhD and the new entrants of the MD program in 12 disciplines. And it is the great pride moment, and we really take this pride that our 2 batches completed 100% result with 100% placement under India's first rank university, DU. And it is really, we are taking this pride to welcome our outgoing 2 batches, and it is a convocation ceremony. So this is like, please guide us about what should be the pragmatic approach for taking Ayurveda to cater the need of 21st century. How the scientists really expect from Ayurveda, and how it can be made more useful to the nation. And as this is the request, and we expect from our today's guest and the speaker, and in his busy schedule, he has really taken out time. We are really grateful to you, sir. And Sri Roshan Jaggi ji, who is taking care of all the connecting central to the all provinces, state, and then taking care of NAM and Ayush in public health, and many others, like all these heading the National Medicinal Plant Board. And today also you will witness how Vasudev Jaggi ji was mentioning for creating the botanical garden of medicinal plant, herbs and Ayush in public health. So sir is the one who is really taking care, and he is also taking care of finances, supporting the finances of the ministry. So, and we are really thankful to you, sir, for supporting IAM and for all your wholehearted support. I welcome you. And now it is over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Tanuja Nesi. Respected Dr. Shekhar Mande, Secretary DSIR and DGCSIR, other participants who are present here, and dear students. Let me first congratulate all of you. This is really a very joyful and happy moment, because I know for students the convocation how important it is after their long hours of hard work, perseverance. They wait for this day, and this is a day when they receive degrees and they are at the threshold when they enter the public domain. They enter that area where they serve the community, society, by virtue of the skills and the training, the, the expertise which they acquire all along these years. I also congratulate Director Ayya and her team of teachers who trained them at All India Institute of Ayurveda. We consider it as emerging, leading national level institutes so far Ayurveda sciences are concerned. And I feel that you all feel privileged to be alumni of this good institute. This is we have a very reputed expert with us. He will talk about many things about Ayurveda. I am not an expert. But as Dr. Tanuja Nesri has mentioned that based on my few years experience in Ministry of Ayush, I feel that you are the people who have to serve the community, who have to serve the society in next 3-4 decades. And we will listen to the lecture of Dr. Mande, and after the lecture we can take your questions also, some doubts and some hand-holding if at all we can do. But one point I would like to share with you people before I hand over the dice to Dr. Mande, that all-out efforts of the Government of India and the state governments, we are working in collaboration with the state and UT governments, is to improve the health outcomes in the states. And Ayush is a very big partner in the health sector. Health and Family Welfare Department is the bigger brother, but we are also the equally important partner in the entire scheme of things. And therefore, this is a very important opportunity for all of you to see that how you can use your skills, your expertise, and ultimate objective is to improve the quality of life of the people of this country. That is our ultimate objective, wherever we serve. And government feels that how India can become an economic power, economically developed country. Why? Because that will help us in having the improved quality of life, and by improved quality of life, I mean that we all should inclusively reap the benefits of economic prosperity. We should have all those basic facilities of life to have a better quality of life. And when we talk of making it a well-developed country, we also talk of having human capital formation. The world says that we have the demographic dividends. You are all highly qualified people. You know that India is the youngest country, that is about 60% of our population is between 15 and 65. That is called productive age population. And the dependent population is less. Whereas other countries like China, Europe, USA, they have more dependent or aged population compared to me. This is called human capital. But experts also say that if we don't convert this population into a good human productive capital, it will become a liability for us. And good productive human capital means health is a very, very important critical input in capital formation, human capital formation. Meaning thereby that if we have the citizens who are healthy and fit, they will contribute to their full potential to the development of this country. But if they are unfit, sick and unhealthy, they will not be able to contribute, and our economic development pace will be much lesser. And therefore we will take a much longer time to achieve our goals. Therefore, you as Ayush professionals have a very, very important role in achieving this larger objective of the nation. That how we can contribute to a society which is healthy, which is free from diseases. And Ayush is known for its strengths, especially Ayurveda, when we talk of preventive things, promotive health, a health which is full of wellness. Now, health policy also talks of health and wellness, dietetics, lifestyle. These are all emerging areas of public health. And therefore, my request to Director Aya, I think she's already taking so many steps, but I can also give a little bit of input based on my experience that in these institutes we should have some very strengthened placement and counseling cells so that whenever these young minds enter your institute, from the day one they should be given those counselings apart from the technical inputs, that how they shape themselves, how much proportion of your students move into the clinical research, and how much they move into these areas where we face acute shortage. I can say based on my administrative experience in the ministry that we face acute shortage of the people from Ayush sector in the public health domain. I have number of initiatives in the states, whether these are the health and wellness centers, these are the public health services through Ayush network, these are the various other initiatives, but implementation part is totally poor and lacking. We are not able to achieve the results. Why? Because this pool of human resource who can connect with the community through their public health expertise is totally lacking in Ayush. So you people also think, when thinking of your career progression, that how to develop your domains in public health. And public health may be your promotive and preventive health. This may be dietetics and nutrition, very important area. And this may be all other type of such areas like education, awareness. And therefore, I feel that national and premier institutes should also equip our manpower like these young brains and minds to take up and venture into these areas and compete with your counterparts from the modern medicines also. So that whenever we have to hire the people or engage the people, we don't have to look to that domain. You are much better equipped to implement these schemes. Of course, we require a very high quality pool of clinical practitioners in Ayurveda and other systems, but at the same time, we also require a good mix of those experts who have the mastery and who have the core competency in the public health. So with these few words, I hand over the rights to Dr. Mande. Please, we look forward to your words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Just welcome Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Awardee 2005, Dr. Mande, who is basically a computational biologist, so is the one who can really tell us how we take Ayurveda forward in the view of as a Vaidya scientist.
Thank you very much. Shri Roshan Jaggi ji, Event Secretary in Ministry of Ayush, Professor Tanuja Nesri ji, Director of IIF, all the friends, colleagues here, and most importantly the students who have received your degrees today. Let me first congratulate all the students who have toiled years of hard work into getting where you are. As Professor Jaggi ji also mentioned, that you are very proud today of what you have done about yourself. There is a world of opportunity that lies ahead of you from now on. And from now on, you will have very few teachers, you will have parents and friends, although supporting you, but not really guiding you. You will have only yourself to guide the destiny that you have chosen. There's a great world of opportunity that lies ahead of you, and we and you equally are very proud of what you have done. Also, best wishes to the students who are entering the MD and PhD programs. I do hope that you meet your aspirations when you enter this program for the next few years. I would like to echo what Roshan Jagdiji said about the traditional medicine systems and about what IR has been playing a role in promoting some of this today. First, let me talk a little bit about India's traditions in general, the traditions that have evolved over thousands of years. And then we'll come to a little bit of how we can take it forward for the future together, all of us. All of us are aware that our history, our heritage is extraordinarily rich. The people who lived in this part of the world, even 5,000 years ago, had developed methods which continue to amaze us even today. And a few examples of that what we see in the archaeological findings. For example, that statue of the dancing girl, as it is called, is blended in metals and made by what is called as the lost wax technique. The lost wax technique was used in Harappan and pre-Harappan period that continues to be used even today. And it was quite a revelation for the people around the world that how did people who lived in this part of the world actually have such a developed and such an intricate technique in their own hands. That's fantastic. And that's an example from metallurgy. But examples of mathematics and astronomy are even more startling. Most of the Western world likes to believe that many of the modern astronomy and mathematics evolved from the days of Galileo and Newton and so on and so forth. But not quite right. The school of astronomy that existed in India, a school of mathematics that existed in India, with the Bhaskaracharyas or Madhavas, was extremely highly developed. And in fact, the calculations made by Indian astronomers in the pre-Newton era continue to baffle even today's historians of mathematics. These calculations could not have been made without the understanding of what today we call calculus or trigonometry or whatever. And it's remarkable that we have had people in this part of the world who have actually developed precise positions of planets and other stellar objects to the last possible detail. And all these traditions that I am talking of have been ingrained in our culture. We have grown up with that. Many of the traditions have been passed on from generation to generation orally. Some of them were also written down. As probably all of you would have read the text of Sushruta. Some of these have been written down, but many of them have been passed on orally. Most traditions were also not based on beliefs, but had a strong rationale, what today we call as a scientific rationale behind them. Just to give an example, 2 days ago, we entered a new year as per the Indian Shalivahan Shaka calendar system, right, 22nd March. And this day is very important. Why is it important? Because according to the motions of the planets and the solar system, this day, the manner in which the earth goes around the sun forms an equinox. That is, the length of the day and the length of the night is equal on this particular day. From now on, the length of the day is going to continue to increase till about 22nd June, in which the length of the day will be maximum. Now, that's the rationale behind Shalivahan Shaka. India, when there were about 30 or different calendar systems prevalent at the time of independence, Indian government formed a committee to rationalize all the calendars that were present in the country. And the job of that came upon my organization, then the CSIR, to find out the rationale of the calendars. And a committee under the chairmanship of Professor Meghnad Saha, many of you would have heard of him, was formed. The committee went into the details of all the 30 rational calendars and then adopted the Gregorian calendar as we know today and the Shalivan Saka as the official calendar. And we entered a new year 2 days ago in this Shalivan Saka. Now, these are the kind of traditions that have evolved over the years. Many of them have been passed on, as I said, from the knowledge of people from generation to generation orally. And many of us have experienced these traditions. A simple fact that when we are not well at home, we have cold or cough, our grandmother always gives us milk and haldi. All of us have done that in our homes. Right? This is not a written tradition anywhere. It's an oral tradition. In all our form of the families, we do take haldi as one of the anti-infectives or something that has the potential to cure us. That's known to everyone. That's a common knowledge. But in 1995, something very strange happened. Someone in the US filed a patent on haldi. Can you believe it? Somebody said that this knowledge is not known, and therefore the person who filed a patent claimed knowledge on haldi and its use in medicine. That's the most ridiculous thing that could have happened. But thankfully, once again, my organization had some role to play in this, CSIR. CSIR immediately recognized that this knowledge has been known for thousands of years in our country. No one can claim there's a new knowledge. No one can claim there's a new discovery, the use of haldi. So we went to US and we fought a battle in the US patent office. We literally fought a battle in the patent office in the US on this. And we're very proud to say that 2 years later, India, and indeed catapulted by CSIR, won the battle and the patent had to be withdrawn. This happened in 1999. Similarly, many people have tried to file patents on neem, on some other products which we all know have medicinal properties, don't we? We all know what are the medicinal properties of many of these different plants that exist around us. And no one in the world can claim that they have discovered that particular thing from Indian traditional knowledge. And we are very proud of that we have had a system which has been prevalent in this country, which actually continues to baffle even the modern world. There's something which is fantastic. The modern medicine as it is today has rather evolved in about the last 100, 120 years. If someone comes on with an illness, one takes one medicine, which is supposed to be one chemical compound, right? And that chemical compound is supposed to act on the cause of that disease. If it is tuberculosis, it will act on the bacterium that causes tuberculosis. If it is common cold, it will act on the virus which causes common cold. And then we get rid of that particular disease. That's the paradigm of modern medicine. And that's last 100 years. One compound acting against the cause of the disease and helping us getting rid of the disease. But what about our tradition? Haven't we followed our traditions for thousands of years of curing ourselves? Indeed we have, right? And as I said once again, many of these traditions are so well ingrained in our culture that we even fail to appreciate them. Let me give you one personal anecdote on this. And personal anecdotes are normally not quoted in science, and science actually believes on proofs and principles and everything. But nonetheless, a personal anecdote would be very important here. About a year ago, or rather 2 years ago, I was hiking in the Himalayas, close to the city called Palapur. We had gone on a hike, and for a few days we were actually going to spend time in the interior of Himalayas. And while walking there, I must have brushed my hand against some plant, and my hand started itching, and the hand became red in no time. I was in the remote corner of Himalayas, not anywhere close to any of the medicine shops and all. But in our hiking team, there was a person who originally came from what we today call as the Badi community, the people who are actually in the higher reaches of Himalayas and in the cultivate cattle and so on and so forth. This person immediately saw this rash on my hand. He said, "Please wait, I will bring something for you." Now, I had been rubbing my hand for about an hour, continuously scratching my hand, and it had become red because of that. He brought certain leaves, rubbed on my hand. In 2 minutes flat, entire redness and the itching went away. It was amazing. Antidote. That's fantastic. Now, the reason that I am giving this example here, that although it's a personal anecdote, this has been known for ages in our country. This kind of antidotes are known. And that's exactly what has been taught to many of you in your last 5 years or something. The formulations of these antidotes and so on and so forth. But yet, the modern world of science continues not to accept some of our traditional practices. The modern world of science only sees through a narrow lens. The modern world of science demands that from the scientific rigor or the scientific principles or whatever the mechanisms, we need to prove why these work that way or why they don't work that way, and we need to catalog a precise use of that particular formulation. Now that's a challenge for all of us. That's a real challenge for all of us, and I'm very glad of the young students who have obtained your degrees today. You have a world of opportunity there to take this forward and ensure that in the coming 10, 20, 30 years, the modern world also accepts these principles. It's our collective responsibility to make sure that the traditional knowledge that what we have is accepted around the world as the real or one of the real ways of practicing medicines. Now it's much easier said than done. To do that, we will have to convince the world from the very practices it uses to prove something works or does not work by the scientific rigor. We must bring in the ways in which modern science works, follow the same practices as modern science would accept, and then show why our traditional practices or traditional practice of medicine works in the manner we would like the world to believe. That's our challenge, and we should do it together. I'm very glad to say that in the last extraordinarily challenging 1 year, Ministry of Ayush and CSIR and some other departments like Department of Biotechnology, we have partnered together and we have taken it upon ourselves that we are going to demonstrate to the world that why certain Ayush formulations work, the manner in which they work. To begin with, we have begun clinical trials exactly in the same way that the modern clinical trials would take place. Right? Having a placebo, having controlled population, documenting what happens to these populations, measure the parameters exactly the same manner in which the modern science would do, such as immunological parameters and so on and so forth. And on 4 different formulations, we have started trials, and we are waiting for the results, and we do hope that we get good results in the coming few months. Nesri madam would actually know what exactly the details of these trials, but we are very glad that we have taken baby steps in this particular direction. But the challenge for the current generation or the younger people like you in the audience is to take this forward. I would like to urge all of you to take this matter very seriously and let us make the world accept what has been known in our country for thousands of years. It's only then we can sleep peacefully, only then we can claim our rightful place in the world around us. Let us all commit that we will try to make practices, including Ayurveda, acceptable to the world from the modern perspective. If we are able to do that, I think it's a lifetime of achievement for all of us. So we'll all commit in doing that. I'm very pleased that CSIR and Ministry of Ayush have a very strong collaboration. I'm also very pleased that Ministry of Ayush is making some tremendous efforts in this direction. Ministry of Ayush has taken a series of steps in this, and Government of India also needs to be complimented for creating Ministry of Ayush. You know, in 2014, in November, what then was the Department of Integrative System of Medicine, right? Indian System of Medicine under the Ministry of Health became Ministry of Ayush, and that was quite a reformative step. And that reformative step now allows us for the challenge that I have laid before all of you just now. So Ministry of Ayush is taking a lot of efforts and needs to be complemented in this particular direction. And whatever help that is required from other sister departments, ministries and all, we are here to help provide that particular help. And we'll all commit together that whatever has been known in our traditions, we will make the world acceptable to those traditions. All the very best to all of you. You have a great world lying ahead of all of you once again. Congratulations once again to all of you. And thank you, Aya, for inviting me to this particular occasion. Thank you very much.
Now we can open the discussion, and we would expect that you might be having your own questions and your own queries. You can interact. Let's have an interactive type of thing, and you can ask questions or you can give your own ideas. You can start from the areas you like or the domain expertise you want to discuss. Would you like to take that question?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's essentially semantics, you know, when we talk of different things, traditional medicine, science, Ayurveda and all, we all believe that Ayurveda is science. We all believe that Ayurveda has been ingrained in our this thing and it's a proper practice of medicine. But calling it traditional is actually semantics because probably over several generations we have practiced it. So it's this way or that way, it really doesn't matter. In the definition that WHO calls as traditional medicine probably doesn't fall strictly. We would like to believe it doesn't fall strictly in that particular definition. But nonetheless, we do believe that it's science.
Any other more questions from the expert side or your suggestions on the things? How do you feel about the sector? But before you think upon it, I can also add to your, curiosities that Ayush definitely has a emerging potential, but as the speaker pointed out, that should we call it a traditional systems of medicine, some call is a modern system and is a system versus modern system, whatever you may call it, but definitely this is a system of health care. Now we call it a health care instead of calling it a system of medicines. This is a much broader term which now we are using, because in a healthcare this is a much broader perspective which we cover, and we see the national health policy also that not only talks of curative part, not only talks of other dimensions, but it is a step further now. Many a times if you see our Honorable Pradhan Mantri's focus on the things, he always talks of the wellness part. So a man may be very healthy, but he may not be enjoying the fruits of that wellness. So Ayush is striving, or its vision is that let's have those advanced dimensions of the health parameters which we called the wellness. And when we were devising the health and wellness centers in the country, you might be knowing under Ayushman Bharat, there are 1,50,000 health and wellness centers are to be established in different parts of the country. Then the government also gave this challenging task to the Ministry of Ayush, that this is a very big opportunity, that how the strengths of the Ayurveda and other systems, using those strengths, including our yoga part, can you devise a wellness model for the citizens of this country, which is not based on the chemical medicines, as Dr. Modi said, but it should be a model which have those ingredients that should keep those all citizens, especially living in the remote, far-flung areas of this country, where there are no, infrastructure of the modern health, and at the same time, they are not aware and educated about the basics of the healthcare, and therefore, can you devise this system? So, under the dynamic leadership of the Secretary Ayush, we started interacting with the states and the experts, and ultimately we have devised about 12, 13 domain areas where these health and wellness centers, which are being established in different states with the help of the state Ayush departments. We want to roll out that model, which talks of prevention of the diseases, which talks of having that lifestyle which is free from diseases, where one can feel that high outcomes of the health, and therefore, whatever may be the group, maybe the 0 to 5, maybe the adolescents, maybe the school-going children, maybe that productive age group, or maybe the our elderly population. Something has been devised for them, whether in the form of yoga packages for different age groups, so that community can change its lifestyle, can adopt those dietetics, those nutrition part, and that overall behavioral change in the community can be brought about. That is very important. You see, in the last health survey, you might have come across, despite all our efforts of the government, I am not saying in that direction, but the reality is that the health outcomes are not encouraging. The statistics which have come out of this survey, that malnutrition is one of the emerging challenges of this country. 0 to 5 children. Stunting is the major issue. What is stunting? Stunting is going to impact your population in the coming years. And experts say that in first 1,000 days of the birth, your entire mental makeup is completed. And if you are anemic, if you are unnourished during those 1,000 days of your birth, it means your faculties remain undeveloped. And if your faculties remain undeveloped, you will not be a productive citizen tomorrow. So, all those nutrition is a very important area which is throwing challenges to us. And Ayush, we have been working on it, but definitely it has a potential where we can, by virtue of the Ayush Ahar and all those things, is a modest beginning, but definitely we have a potential to move forward to address this issue, to address this area. Second is the anemia. Whether it's a lactating mother, whether it's a pregnant ladies, or these are the school-going adolescents. Everybody is suffering, and from well-off families. You see the statistics in that health survey. And therefore, when we talk of getting into that developed block of the countries of this world, economic development, and then when we connect it with the human resource development, these are the major challenges before us. If the society is not healthy, if it is not educated, then how can you become a good human resource? And if the human resource pool is not productive, everything will fall apart. So ultimately it comes to all those core faculties that you all people have a very major role to play. And for this, I would suggest 1, 2, 3 points. That one is pride in your career, pride in your profession. You should not feel that we belong to Ayurveda or Ayush or something like this, and those people across the fence, they are more superior. No. You have your own confidence, and the confidence comes from when you have the professional skills and professional core competencies. And that you must strive hard to build consistently. Whether any area, whether it is a clinical practice, whether it is interface with the patients, whether it's a public health type of things, wherever you are. But you have to strive hard, you have to develop those things, and you have to achieve that excellence of professionalism. Only then that confidence will come to you, and you will move forward. You see, even today, the Ayush practitioners, the Ayurveda doctors who have command over their, profession, people search for them all across. Whether it's a secretary to government of India or it's a common man, everybody is in search. यार कोई अच्छा डॉक्टर बताओ जो हमें ये इस पर एडवाइस कर सके. So that is the strength, and you have a life ahead. You are passing out from a very good institute, and the institute or your street really makes a difference, and you should feel proud of All India Institute of Ayurveda. And therefore, you people have to contribute to the Ayush sector. Ayush is we can call it as it is redefining itself, it's reinventing itself. It's a very, very old system, but we have to redefine ourselves according to the emerging needs of the society, according to the emerging requirements of the society. So, with these words, I would request Madam to sum up the things, and then you can.
Thank you very much, sir, for elaborately explaining and guiding us about how do we take it Ayurveda for the public health. Honorable Sri Roshan Jaggiji and Honorable Sri Shekhar Mandeji, you really elaborated and informed us about various scientific and the mathematical explanation of our own tradition and the wisdom, like starting from the equinox and what is the relevance of the our own tradition and anecdotes, how they are most relevant and the scientific in the today's world. So it is the message for our young budding stars and the scientists that there is a lot of hidden treasure. That's what you mentioned. If we take it one, I think it is, for the humanity, it would maybe more and more the researchers and the more important solutions can come from our own tradition. And that's what, sir, you really mentioned us for us. And all our brilliant stars who are twinkling and sitting may take this message. And just one request from all our postgraduate scholars and the PhD scholars, sir, they are also looking with lots of hopes to get the support from CSIR laboratories, more than 32 across the country. And I'm really thankful that All India Institute of Ayurveda and IGIB, they are also working. And in the CSIR, during COVID also, we have, you really have provided and extended your support. But if really they got these Vaidyas, if as Professor Gupta mentioned that, and you also supported that Ayurveda itself is a knowledge system and science, even though it is a traditional medicine. So why we get like one Bhavna Prashar? She is placed from a BMS background. She's placed in IGIB and really contributed a lot. So in all those CSIR laboratories, can Ayush doctors get a placement to continue their aspirations in the scientific rigor? So if you really could really announce that, I think that our youngsters will definitely their moral will boost up, and you are already supporting and extending your wholehearted support for continuing their research at the MD dissertation and the PhD thesis. This has been taken forward, but maybe as a career progression, as Roshan Chakiji mentioned, that a counseling and the placement cell is there. So maybe as a career opportunity, they can continue their career as a Vaidya scientist. I think if both come together, I think the future of the Ayurvedic persons would definitely be bright, and we can find out the latest solutions. So this is one expectation on behalf of all young scientists, and thank you very much. We have Rajeshwari from Niti Aayog. We have integrated health system where integration of the basic science and the applied science, and one integrated protocol for the entire citizens. Niti Aayog has taking the visionary steps. We have RAV director Anupam Srivastava, where Guru Shishya Parampara, from Gurukul to Kulaguru system, how the transformation is being taken. So, and with all those science in the nutrition, the food biomedicine. So, with Ayurveda Ahar also we are coming out with a very user-friendly, so that not only medicine but the Ahar sector also grows. And there also scientific support is really required. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. With that, we have come to an end of this session, which was the orientation lecture. We thank Dr. Shekhar C. Mande for talking to us all in that comprehensive lecture. In fact, I am going to request Dr. Tanuja to now kindly present a memento as a token of our gratitude and appreciation to Dr. Shekhar Mande, and thank him on behalf of all of us here at the All India Institute of Ayurveda.
Title of this entire program is Udan. So we just want to request and request.
So the memento has an eagle which symbolizes the flight of the eagle, Udan, and presenting to Dr. Shekhar Mande. Also requesting Dr. Tanuja to present a memento and thank Shri Roshan Jaggi, the Honorable Joint Secretary, Ministry of Ayush.
Thank you, sir.
For gracing today's occasion. Well, thank you everyone. With that, we conclude this session. I'm sure everyone's hungry. Lunch is ready, and let's try and be back by 2 p.m. I'm sorry, by 3 p.m. That's when we'll have the cultural program and the alumni meet. And from 4:30 onwards, we will have the valedictory session, wherein we are expecting the Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and Minister in Charge, Ministry of Ayush, Shri Kiran Rijiju, who will be joining us at 4:30 p.m. So please join us back by 3 o'clock and join us for lunch now. Thank you.
उसी ग्राम से क्या चुनाव लड़ रहे हो?
नहीं चुनाव लड़ने वाले लड़ने नहीं पाते।
उसी ग्राम तो बिहार में पड़ता है ना?
नहीं हर जगह बहुत जगह
हर जगह से सर
एक जगह नहीं है ना वो तो
उसी ग्राम में
नहीं एक से कौन सा कहाँ रहा है
बढ़िया से
आ जाइए।
मैं इधर खड़ा हूँ, मेरा ना वो वीडियो अपलोड कर रहा हूँ।
तो इसको क्या करें?
नहीं, रिकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप हो गया क्या?
खत्म हो गया ना?
स्टॉप कर दीजिए रिकॉर्डिंग।
स्टॉप कौन सा? बीच वीडियो वाला करना प्रेस करना पड़ेगा?
हाँ, वीडियो